Today I'm going to explain the movie Ready or Not 2, which is the second part of Ready or Not. The story starts where it ended. Grace is seen leaving after outsmarting the entire Lou Dumas family. She sits on the stairs and begins revealing the truth. By this point, the police have arrived, and chaos has broken out everywhere. A police officer approaches Grace and asks if she is okay and what happened. Grace says that after confronting the family, she doesn't remember anything. She then collapses on the stairs and loses consciousness. The police quickly rush her to the hospital. On the way, her condition becomes critical, her pulse drops, and she nearly dies. The officers try to revive her by giving her oxygen. During this time, flashes of everything she experienced with the Lou Dumas family run through her mind. These memories seem to bring her back, and she regains consciousness. When she wakes up, she finds herself in a hospital bed. A police officer informs her that she is going to prison for a long time because the Lou Dumas family has been murdered, and she was the last person seen with them. Her clothes are also stained with their blood. At that moment, her younger sister Faith arrives. The two sisters haven't spoken in 7 years, but Faith came because Grace had listed her as an emergency contact. Grace asks about her life, and Faith responds sarcastically, reminding her that Grace abandoned her to build her own life. She explains that she now works in social media, lives in her own apartment in New York, and has a boyfriend named Derek who works in finance. Faith then asks Grace how she ended up in this situation, mentioning that she married Alex from a wealthy family. Grace says she wouldn't believe the truth, but when Faith threatens to leave, Grace stops her and tells everything. She explains that after marrying Alex, he took her to meet his family, where they forced her to pick a card and play a game, hide and seek. But it was a deadly game. Either she survived or she died to save them. In the end, she destroyed the entire family. The scene then shifts to a powerful man named Chester, who is watching the news about an ongoing war. He makes a phone call and orders a ceasefire, which happens within a minute, showing his immense influence. His lawyer arrives and informs him that the Lou Dumas family is dead, but the bride survived. Chester sends a message to a network of families across different countries, announcing that the Lou Dumas family is gone and the bride has survived, meaning the game must begin early. Whoever receives this message is excited. We then see Chester's children, Titus and Ursula. Chester tells them about the situation and declares that a new game will begin. He explains that they must win the high seat, a position of ultimate power symbolized by a special ring that controls the entire council. He insists that the ring must stay within their family. After saying this, he lies down and asks his children to finish the job. They suffocate him with a pillow, killing him, something that will be explained later. The story returns to Grace, who has somewhat recovered. A police officer is escorting her to a lockup for questioning when suddenly he is attacked by a man with a knife. The attacker is part of another gaming family. As soon as Grace sees him, she hides with Faith, knowing he is there to kill her. When they try to escape, the attacker finds them and strikes again. But before he can kill Grace, he suddenly explodes. This happens because he broke the rules. He attempted to kill her before the game officially began. Witnessing this, Faith is terrified and begins to believe Grace's story. Taking advantage of the situation, Grace grabs the keys from the injured officer and frees herself from the handcuffs. After this, Grace puts on the same blood-stained wedding dress again, saying she doesn't have time to change because they need to be ready to fight. Danger could arrive at any moment. As she and Faith attempt to leave, two men suddenly appear with smoke grenades. They release a poisonous gas, easily knocking both sisters unconscious. The scene then shifts to a grand hotel owned by the Dunforth family. The place resembles a luxurious casino club, and it is where the next deadly game will take place. Titus orders everyone to vacate the premises in preparation. At the same location, we meet Jamie, Titus's nephew, who has been assigned to observe the game. Soon, 3 large cars arrive at the hotel, signaling the arrival of 3 powerful families. The first includes Ignatius and his son Philip. The second consists of Quan and his son Xingfu, who is obsessed with video games. The third family includes Madhu, his elder brother Viraj, and Madhu's wife Matina. The main guest of the game, Grace, has already been brought there along with Faith, who is now trapped with her. Ignatius calls for the game to begin and asks for Chester, but Ursula announces that Chester died that morning. She declares that she and her brother Titus will now oversee the game. At that moment, a lawyer arrives carrying a thick book. He is responsible for ensuring that the game is conducted fairly. He explains the rules. Since the Lou Dumas family has been destroyed and Grace survived, she will now be the central participant in the next game. The winner will receive a powerful ring and claim the high seat, gaining control over the entire council. Grace refuses to participate, but the lawyer threatens to kill Faith if she doesn't comply. Left with no choice, Grace agrees to play in order to protect her sister. Just then, Francesca enters. She is furious with Grace because she was once supposed to marry Alex, but Grace came between them. Francesca warns Grace that she will kill her during the game and that no one will be able to save her. Soon after, both Grace and Faith are injected with a substance that renders them unconscious. The lawyer then uses a strange pen to have the participants mark their palms and sign the book with their blood, essentially using blood as ink to seal the game. Not all family members participate directly. Some remain inside to watch. However, if their family members are eliminated, they must join the game. The objective for the 4 families is clear: hunt down Grace and Faith and eliminate them. Whoever finishes the game first will become the new leader. Later, Grace and Faith regain consciousness, finding themselves handcuffed on the ground. Grace urges Faith to run away, knowing the danger they are in. However, Faith suggests they shouldn't run blindly and should instead try to reason with their enemies. At that moment, they notice a drone hovering above them. It is being controlled by Quan, who speaks to them through a microphone attached to it. He hints that there might be a way to stop the game if they cooperate with him. Before he can explain further, the drone is suddenly destroyed. Ursula had spotted and shot it down. Realizing the danger, Grace grabs Faith and they run into the forest, hoping to escape. However, they soon encounter a massive wall blocking their way, making escape nearly impossible. Grace tells Faith that their only option is to survive until morning. While searching for them, Ursula comes dangerously close. Grace quickly hides behind the trees. Moments later, Titus appears and attacks them. Faith intervenes just in time, saving Grace as Titus tries to choke her. The sisters fight back together, manage to overpower him briefly, and escape. As they exit the forest, they spot a large building and decide to head toward it, hoping to find a way out. Unbeknownst to them, Ignatius is watching from a distance with a sniper rifle. He fires but misses. He continues shooting at them as they run for cover. Amid the chaos, Faith notices a gas cylinder and some garbage nearby. She sets the garbage on fire, creating thick smoke that spreads across the area. Using the cover of the smoke, the sisters attempt to escape. However, Ignatius keeps firing blindly into the smoke. One of his bullets hits the cylinder, triggering a massive explosion. Fortunately, both sisters survive the explosion unharmed, although Grace injures her hands during the fall. They quickly run into a nearby building, where Faith tends to Grace's wounds and bandages them. Just as they finish, Viraj suddenly arrives. Seeing him, the sisters hide immediately. They manage to trick him and escape briefly, but Viraj continues them. When they enter another room, they find a machine and use it to cut off their handcuffs. However, Viraj hears them and comes close. As soon as he approaches, both sisters attack him together. They overpower him and, in a brutal move, shove him into a washing machine and turn it on. The machine spins violently, and his condition rapidly worsens. Eventually, when they take him out, he is dead. Grace takes Viraj's phone and calls the police, explaining everything. However, it is later revealed that the person on the call is not a real police officer. It is Ursula. She had set up a system so that no calls could go outside. Pretending to be a policewoman, she tells Grace that help is on the way and instructs them to come to the main gate. Trusting this, Grace and Faith head toward the gate. On the way, Quan suddenly appears, holding a sword. She tells Grace she doesn't want to kill her and instead offers a deal. If Grace marries her son, she will become part of their family, and no one will harm her. In return, Quan would gain power and become the leader. However, this would mean continuing the deadly tradition of sacrificing people in these games. Grace firmly refuses, saying she will never be part of such cruelty. At that moment, Ignatius arrives and fires at Grace, but Quan steps in front. With her sword raised, she demands one last time that Grace agree to marry her son. As she moves to attack, Grace struggles with her, and the sword accidentally strikes Ignatius, killing him. Since killing a member of another family breaks the rules, Quan is immediately punished. She explodes on the spot. According to the rules, her son Qingfu also dies as a consequence. Now covered in blood, Grace and Faith prepare to move forward. Faith picks up a sword, and they head toward the main gate. Meanwhile, Ursula and her brother Titus are waiting there. Grace calls them again, and they confirm they are near the gate. As Ursula and Titus move to check, Grace ambushes them from behind and snatches Ursula's gun. Grace demands the gate's PIN code. At first, they refuse, but when she threatens them, Titus panics and reveals the code. However, before the sisters can escape, Ursula and Titus attack them again. Faith manages to break free, but Ursula captures Grace. Faith has a chance to escape alone, but she refuses to leave her sister behind. Ursula attacks Grace with a weapon and is about to kill her, but Faith intervenes just in time and saves her. Nearby, they find a buggy vehicle. Faith helps Grace into it and drives away. Elsewhere, Francesca decides to enter the hunt herself, determined to kill Grace personally. Meanwhile, Faith brings Grace to safety and treats her injuries. Grace painfully removes a weapon lodged in her body. Frustrated and angry, she lashes out at Faith, blaming her for not escaping when she had the chance. Faith is hurt and argues back, saying she is only in danger because of Grace. Their argument intensifies, and Faith eventually walks away. Grace takes a painkiller to manage her pain. As she gets up to leave, Francesca suddenly appears, armed with a missile launcher. However, it seems to be her first time using it, and she fails to fire it properly. She then charges at Grace. Grace quickly grabs a spray and attacks Francesca's eyes. Francesca retaliates by spraying Grace in the face as well. Both of them lose their vision and begin fighting blindly, striking at each other without being able to see. After some time, Francesca regains her composure and brutally beats Grace. She is about to strike her on the head to kill her, but Grace fights back at the last moment and overpowers her, attacking her so fiercely that Francesca is knocked unconscious. Meanwhile, Faith is on her way back to find her sister when Titus suddenly attacks her. Unable to find Grace, he takes out his anger on Faith and beats her severely, leaving her nearly half dead. Fortunately, Ursula arrives and stops him. She tells Titus that they can use Faith as bait to lure Grace. At the same time, Grace is searching for Faith when she hears a message over the radio. Titus tells her that he has her sister, and if she wants to see her alive, she must come inside. Before going in, Grace breaks open a locker, takes a shotgun, and heads toward the building. At the entrance, she encounters Francesca again, who has recovered and is coming to kill her. This time, Grace shoots her and kills her instantly. She then enters the building and confronts Jamie, demanding to know where her sister is. Suddenly, Philip arrives with 2 guns and starts firing at her. Grace manages to escape and locks herself inside a room. Soon after, Titus arrives, bringing Faith with him. He tells Grace that if she wants her sister to live, she must surrender. Thinking quickly, Grace proposes a deal. She offers to marry Titus. By doing so, she would become part of his family, meaning he would no longer need to kill her. The lawyer confirms that this is allowed under the rules. Titus agrees to the proposal, and Grace is reunited with her sister. Titus then takes Grace to his room, where people prepare her as a bride. Once ready, she is taken down to a bunker where the group worships their dark entity. The lawyer begins the marriage ritual. A hidden door opens, and both Grace and Titus offer their blood to become bound. They sign the book with their blood and exchange rings. With this, Titus wins the game and inherits his father's ring, claiming the high seat and becoming the leader. However, at the right moment, Grace seizes her chance, attacks Titus, and kills him. She takes the ring and throws it into the pit below. Then, she puts the ring on herself, becoming the new leader. She orders everyone present to bow before her, and they obey since she now holds ultimate authority. But then Grace declares that she is stepping down from the position. The lawyer does not object, as she is still following the rules. She removes the ring and throws it into the pit. Greed takes over, and everyone present starts jumping into the pit to retrieve the ring. Chaos erupts as they begin killing each other. With this, Grace frees herself from the entire system. She and Faith prepare to leave and start a new life. As they are about to exit, all the people inside the pit suddenly explode. Finally, Grace and her sister walk away together, leaving everything behind and beginning a new life. With this, the movie ends. Hope you have the story. If you like the video, please like and do subscribe my channel. See you in next video. Bye bye.